Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be breaking down Summer House Season 9, Episode 10. We're still at Kyle's DJ set, unfortunately. Ciara is telling Paige that she shouldn't give Craig the out. She needs to dig deep and determine if the relationship is what she really wants. And I think I agree with her because I feel like it's so easy to tell somebody else well, this is how the relationship is going to be, and if you want out, then get out. Let me know and get out. But I think that's a great way for Paige to avoid thinking about whether she actually wants to be in this relationship. It's, in my opinion, I don't know, sometimes it's easier to be broken up with than to do the breaking up, and sometimes it definitely feels like Paige is avoiding breaking up with him. And then in her confessional, she says that she feels guilty she isn't happier because she literally has everything she's ever asked for, but she's the most anxious she's ever been.
I feel guilty that I'm not more happy. I wished for everything I have. I've literally manifested the apartment I live in, manifested having a boyfriend who's obsessed with me. I love my career. So then why am I the most anxious I've ever been in my entire life when I have everything I want?
Sometimes you get everything you want and you realize it's not what you thought it would be. Sometimes you have to get everything you want in order to realize that actually you want something else. I just think this is a classic case of that. She has the incredible career, she has the boyfriend, but it's not enough to just have a boyfriend. It's your partner needs to be adding value to your life. And clearly Craig is just not adding any value to her life. And if anything, he's just a stressor. And if Paige's career is the number one thing she has in her life right now, it's what she wants to be the number one thing, then and then you have Craig being well, your career being number one is a deal breaker for me. Yeah, the writing seems like it's on the wall to me. Everyone goes to a club afterwards to celebrate Lindsay and Kyle's combined birthdays. This is how you know that Lindsay used to be on the outs with everyone, because they have never celebrated jointly before. I didn't even know that their birthdays were so close together. And then they all go out and they celebrate their joint birthday. I'm oh, this is really the first year that you guys have been cool with each other, because I had no idea your birthdays were around the same time. They get home and they show everybody going to bed, and Paige and Ciara's room is so messy, it's actually scary. This is a theme every single week, and this is just the first time I've talked about it, but they are so messy in a very frightening way. I would have to try to be like that. I would have to try to have my room as messy as their room is. I don't know how they could even sleep in there. I would not be able to sleep in a room that is messy like that. I don't know. It's kind of astonishing. It's kind of crazy. I could also never date somebody like that. Obviously I'm not trying to date Paige or Ciara, but if I walked into a guy's room and it looked like that, or even with my boyfriend Mohammed, if I walked into his room and it looked like that, it would be instant turn off. I'd be I'm turning around and leaving, and I am not coming back until this room is clean. We can hang out at my house, because this is not okay. Everyone goes to sleep, and Lexi and Jesse are arguing outside because Lexi was hanging out with West all night at the club. I did not like the way that Jesse slammed his hand on the door when she was trying to open it quietly. I really didn't like that. She had her hands on the door and she was kind of trying to ease it open, and while she had her hands on the door and was leaning forward, Jesse slams his hand on it above her head to open it. I did not like that. That would really throw me off. I'm not saying that I think he's dangerous, but I just thought that was not okay while her hands were still on the door. If he wants to be annoying and just do that, opening the door himself, then by all means do that, but don't be putting your hands on the door so aggressively when Lexi has her hand on the knob like that. I don't know, I didn't like that. That threw me off. And then in the confessional, Lexi says that on the way home, Jesse said the way she was acting with West was worse than the way he was acting when she was gone, which is, I'm sure, not true. He is so drunk. It is such a turnoff when men get so drunk like that they're just basically incoherent. Lexi tells him that she wasn't flirting with West. She was just holding him up because he was so drunk. And like, yeah, I believe that. I believe that West was that drunk. And Jesse is just so drunk. Like, he keeps telling Lexi he loves her. Ew, this would give me the ick so badly. We would have to be done. This would really, like, this is just so unattractive. Guys who get this drunk, like, I don't know how people can be with somebody like this. Ew, I hated that. Imrul brings his 5th girl home of the summer. He brings her to his bedroom. He's always like the last one to get home. He's always coming home by himself. Paige gets up and goes to the empty bedroom to sleep because she's like really, really anxious. And it's probably like 3 a.m. at this point. And then as she's like trying to go to sleep, she hears Imrul's bed banging against the wall and she hears the girl moaning. And I was like, oh my God, this is like terrible. This is like a nightmare. This is like college. Like, these people are too old for this. If I was in this situation, I'd be calling the Uber back to Manhattan. I'd be like, fuck it. I'm sleeping in my room tonight. I am not dealing with this. The Uber would have been on the way. It's 4 a.m. and Kyle isn't home. I mean, we've been here before. Amanda texts him and is like, where are you? He doesn't get home until 5:32 a.m. Him and Wes stumble home at 5:32 a.m. He's like 42 years old. I mean, oh my God, like, that is like really embarrassing. He and West are like banging on the door trying to open it, and it wakes Lindsay up and she has to come downstairs and open it for them. She's like 6 months pregnant. It's her birthday. She's getting up at 5:30 in the morning to open the door for these like drunk losers coming home at 5:30 in the morning. And Kyle doesn't even try crawling into bed with Amanda. He just sleeps in a chair in the hallway because I think he knows that if he tried, I mean, first of all, I'm sure he just didn't want to wake Amanda up, but like, I'm sure like he knows that as soon as Amanda wakes up, this is gonna be a thing. So he's trying to avoid it as much as possible. Then I wrote down the next morning. It already is the morning. I think like 3 or 4 hours later, like at 9:30 a.m., Amanda wakes him up. She just kind of like taps him on the forehead and she just doesn't say anything. She just wakes him up and she just doesn't say anything. She stares at him for a second and then she just walks off. Being in a marriage like this would be so embarrassing. I'm sorry. I think this is so embarrassing for her. He embarrasses her all the time. I would be humiliated to be in this type of marriage where I'm like, my husband's getting home at 5:30 a.m. after I've been texting him all night, where are you? She says in the confessional that he knows that he's in the wrong, which is like, it's like she's talking about a dog, you know what I mean? It's like if a dog like steals some food off of the counter and the owner's like, well, he knows that was wrong. Like that's what Amanda sounds like talking about Kyle. So then Jesse in the confessional, now that he's sober, is talking about what really went down between Lexi and West. And he says that last night, West was massaging Lexi's shoulders and touching her while they were dancing, which is like, it's like, sure, that's wrong. Like, I wouldn't put that above West. I'm sure he was doing that. But, like, you do way worse with Ciara. Like, what do you're like when you and Ciara and are in your bathing suits, you're, like, putting your whole body on top of her and picking her up and, like, cuddling her. So, like, let's not pretend like what Lexi and West were doing was worse than that. So then Paige and Ciara are talking about Imrul, and Paige is just so over Imrul bringing so many girls home. They both say that it's, like, very disrespectful. And like, here's the thing. I don't believe in slut shaming. Like, for me, the sleeping with multiple women in a summer, that isn't the problem. But like, if you have to be respectful of it if it bothers your roommates. You can't be bringing girls home at like 6 a.m. And these are like strangers. Like you're bringing strangers into the house and then you're having sex so loudly that your roommates can't sleep. That is a problem. That's disrespectful. I didn't like Paige's comment about Imrul needing an STD check. That was slut shaming. I didn't like that. That's not okay. I think if the genders were reversed and maybe Paige was having a hot girl summer and bringing a bunch of guys home, if a man told her you need to get an STD check, like that's disgusting, you're sleeping with so many men, that would be a major issue. People would be up in arms about that. So Paige saying like, oh, you need an STD check, that is not okay. I did not like that she said that. I did not think that was a slay. I did not think that was like, yes, queen. I thought that was like a disgusting comment that we should not be normalizing. Carl tells Ciara that last night Lindsay told him that he was in her thoughts on the anniversary of his brother's passing. And he says in the confessional, he's like, I want to be close friends with Ciara again because Ciara and I used to be close. And he says that Ciara is very emotionally intelligent and that's something he wants in his next partnership. It's really interesting because I feel like they foreshadowed things happening with Carl and Ciara before, but like it seems like they want to focus more on Jesse and Ciara potentially getting into something because like there's like the material is there with Carl and Ciara. They flirted before. I just think the flirting isn't as heavy as with her and Jesse. So like they don't talk about it much, but like there is some level of tension there. Like I think Carl would seize that opportunity if it was made clear that Ciara was into it. Ciara outside tells the guys that she's over Imrul bringing so many girls home. Here's the thing with Imrul bringing all the girls home. I wouldn't mind it as a viewer if he was like contributing to the house more in any way, if he was like throwing some parties or if he was contributing to the storylines or the drama or things like that. But it does kind of feel like he's using the house as a hotel. Like it seems like he shows up every weekend, he eats the food, he drinks the booze, and he uses the bedroom. And that's like it. Like, he doesn't seem that interested in making friends with the housemates. He doesn't seem that interested in, like, being on the show, really. Like, it really does feel like there's just a hotel guest, and then they're also filming Summer House. So, like, that is why it bothers me as a viewer, I think. Apparently, at the DJ set that day, he said he was taking the weekend off from bringing girls home, and then he just, like, went back on that. And Imrul is like, I think he's there when Ciara's talking about this. I think he's like in the group or he like shows up. And Imrul is wondering if everyone else is also like frustrated about this. Jesse said that he was in Imrul's shoes last summer, but he had good relationships with everyone in the house before he brought home one girl one time. And like, yeah, I think that's what it boils down to is like, bring your girls home, but like be respectful about it. And also maybe like get to know us a little bit, like your housemates. Like you're not just here like to use the house and eat our food and stuff. It's like you're on this show. And I almost feel like he doesn't do anything to contribute to like the community of the house. Do you know what I mean? And then in the confessional, he basically says he doesn't care, but he'll stop bringing girls home if it bothers anyone. He is giving one season wonder. I do not think he's going to be back next year, not even as like a friend of. I think he's very boring. I don't think he is very interested in bringing much to this show, and I don't think he does bring much to this show. So I don't think he's going to be back next year. I think Imrul was a flop. Then Ciara and Paige are talking on the bed upstairs, and Ciara starts crying because she hates that Paige is so anxious. I mean, it's kind of sweet that she's so empathetic like that, but I was like, wow, like this is really upsetting you. Like, I think it's sweet that she's so upset that Paige is having a hard time that she is also crying. I was like, wow, maybe I need to be a better friend because I would not be crying like that. Paige says that she's afraid that Craig is gonna freak out on her and call her a bitch. And that's like if your relationship is in a place where you actually think your boyfriend might call you a bitch, like if that even crosses your mind, like you are not in the right relationship. Like, I don't care. My boyfriend and I have never really fought. We're pretty good communicators. We don't fight. But if I was in the type of relationship where like I actually thought he might call me a bitch, like I would have to seriously assess like, is this the right person for me? Because I don't care what I do. I know my boyfriend would never ever use that word on me. And like, I think Kyle and Amanda think that that type of thing is normal because, I mean, how many times has he called her a bitch on camera? 10, 20 times. He's always calling her a bitch. And like, I just wish somebody would shake Amanda and Paige and be like, that is not normal. It is not normal for your boyfriend to call you a bitch. That is not okay. You should not be in that type of relationship. And Paige says she feels like he dumbs down how busy she is and makes her feel like she's a bad person because her relationship isn't the number one thing in her life. This is like such classic like sexism. I've always thought Craig was sexist. I've always thought that. Like, I think he thinks women belong in the kitchen, basically. I think he thinks that women exist to make men happy and that women's number one priority should be serving them and loving them, and like, why would you want to do anything else? And I think he believes that because probably that's the kind of household he was raised in. But like, yeah, I've always thought Craig was a sexist. I feel like he said sexist things before. I just feel like he's always been like a pig. Like, my first time seeing Craig was on Winter House, and like, if you've watched Winter House, like, he is a pig on that show. He is so entitled. He is so nasty. Like, he's so nasty to everybody in the house. Like, I've never liked him since day one. Lindsay's birthday brunch feels so miserable. They like set up this brunch in the kitchen, and it's giving like college dorm. Like, everybody is so sullen. I mean, I feel like people are probably hungover, but like, Lindsay's like, thank you everyone for this. This is so nice. And like, it just looks so miserable. I feel like everybody just wants to go home. And then Lexi in the confessional says that Jesse tells her he loves her all the time, just not in front of other people. Ooh, like there's a lot to unpack there. It's like, I don't even want to go into it. She said that. Jesse tells her he loves her all the time, just not in front of other people. And then Paige calls an Uber Black back to the city. How much does that cost? I don't live in New York, but I'm pretty sure the Hamptons is like, what, a 2-hour drive away from the city? Can it be like 3 hours with traffic? She's out here calling like an Uber Black back to the city. I feel like that's probably like, I mean, it has to be like a $200 Uber, right? I mean, I know she's rich. That kind of money doesn't matter to her, but like, I mean, probably production is providing those cars. I would imagine production is driving those cars, and she's like, oh, I called the Uber, but like, oh my God, an Uber from the Hamptons to Manhattan? That seems crazy to me. So back in the city, Jesse is hosting a dinner at the Hope Lodge, which is really cool. I had never heard of this before. It's a place in New York City where cancer patients can come to stay for free while they receive treatment, since the best cancer treatment in the world is in New York City. I didn't know that either, which is very interesting. But yeah, really cool organization. I had never heard of it before. He tells somebody, like one of the people who come to the dinner, that cancer was like weirdly one of the best things that ever happened to him because life feels so much sweeter on the other side. I mean, I feel like it definitely explains a lot about like who Jesse is, right? Like, at one point he thought he was gonna die, and then now he's in a place where he's not gonna die, most likely. And I think that is probably a big reason why he's like, I want to have so much fun, and why would I want to settle down with one girl when I can hook up with all of these different girls? And like, that kind of like, I just want to be free and untethered, and he's always smiling and laughing and he doesn't take anything seriously. I have a feeling part of it comes from his experience having cancer and thinking he was gonna die. Then at the dinner, Carl tells Ciara he met a cute girl and hooked up with her in Montauk. Big deal, because that's the first time he's had sex since Lindsay over a year ago. And there's just a weird sexual tension between them. It's so interesting. There's just this sexual tension between them that the show is not acknowledging. The show is basically pretending like it's not happening. So just like weird. I mean, I'm not rooting for that. I don't want them to get together. I don't think they would be good together necessarily. I also don't think Ciara's like really into it. I think she just kind of probably flirts with him a little bit. I think they're friends, but like, maybe that's why. I think the show just wants us to focus on Jesse and Ciara. And then Ciara tries cracking a joke with Jesse and touches his arm, and he yanks it away and he goes, Ciara, enough with the touching. And she's like, seriously? Which is like, yeah, that's probably the first time Jesse has said that to a woman in his life. And I would also be shocked if I heard Jesse say that. But like, yeah, Jesse just is literally like, enough with the touching. And then Jesse gives a beautiful speech. He gives a beautiful speech about his experience with cancer and, you know, I didn't really take a lot of notes, but it was just like very nice. And Carl's filming it. Everybody seems to love it. We clap. Paige, Ciara, and Amanda go out to brunch. Very dangerous trio. It's like when the girls go out, it's like they have a lot to talk about. Paige says Craig came over on Sunday and could tell that she was really anxious. And she told him how she felt about him downplaying her career, and he said he was sorry, but he does it because he misses her and wants to spend time with her. And it's like, yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you get your girlfriend to want to spend more time with you. You belittle her and you tell her that she's stupid for prioritizing other things and you should be her number one priority. That's how you get your girlfriend to want to spend more time with you. Paige says in the confessional she feels weak dealing with her emotions when she has a job to do. What I want somebody to tell her is that dealing with your emotions is gonna make you so much better at your job, because it's gonna make you feel more present, and it's gonna make you, you're gonna have less on your mind, you're gonna be able to focus more. Like, I wish somebody would just tell her that. Ciara tells them about what Jesse did at the dinner, yanking his arm away and being like, enough with the touching. And Amanda and Paige say that he said that because he knows he can't control himself, which I think is so true. He said that to like look good, first of all, for the camera. Like, he said that to look good, to be like, look, I'm enforcing Lexi's boundaries. But it's like, yeah, like if he let himself touch her arm, they would have been all over each other at that damn dinner at the Hope Lodge. You know what I mean? So like, I do agree. I don't think he can control himself, especially around Ciara. And then Ciara in the confessional says what we're all thinking. Like, he's been all over me all summer, but okay. Like, yeah, it's like, you're yanking your arm away being like, don't touch me, and you're just not even gonna acknowledge like, listen, I know I've been all over you all summer, but like, we have to stop, it's really hurting Lexi's feelings. You're not gonna acknowledge that because he doesn't even want to acknowledge that he's been all over her all summer. He wants to pretend like that stuff doesn't happen, like he's perfect, and like nothing that he does to make Lexi feel bad is actually his fault. It's like, by all means, if you want to change yourself, if you want to finally acknowledge like, okay, like the way that I've been acting is hurting Lexi, I need to change, then by all means change. Stop being flirty with other women and stop being physically affectionate with them. But you gotta acknowledge like, hey, listen, Ciara, like, I know I've been doing this with you before. I know I've been really touchy and like cuddly and stuff, but like, it's hurting Lexi's feelings and I need to stop. And I'm sorry for doing that before, but it needs to stop. Like, I need to just be very platonic with you. Of course, he's not gonna say that. He's not mature enough to say that. But like, it's like, yeah, if I was Ciara, I would also be confused. I'd be like, oh, randomly now it's not okay. They showed the preview for the next episode and Schwartz is coming to the house. God help us all. God help us all. I don't know what's going on with Schwartz. He was on the Valley last week and now he's showing up to the summer house. I don't know if he's just gonna be like a permanent friend of on like every single Bravo show. That man is so unemployed. He has nothing to do. He could fly to the Hamptons for a weekend. It's not like he's doing anything else. He's divested from Tom Tom. He's divested from Tom Tom, and then I think the other bar closed. So I think he has nothing really going on in his life right now, so he can afford to take the time to fly to the Hamptons for the weekend. That's it for this recap. If you missed it, I posted my recap of the season 14 reunion of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills part 3. I posted that a couple days ago, so you can check that out on the channel. In the meantime, in the next couple days, I'm gonna have my recap up of The Valley season 2 episode 2, and of course we will keep coming back with our summer house recaps as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.